Trinadapi Sunichena Torariva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Harinama 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 Eva Kevalam Kalom Nastyeva 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 Gatiranyata. Tonight we're going to hear about Ramananda Raya and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If you're ready to participate, please say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishnadas Kaviraj writes, a Brahmin Vaishnava, following the Vedic principles, came and offered obeisances. He fell flat before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and invited him for lunch. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the Brahmin's invitation, knowing him to be a devotee, and slightly smiling, he spoke as follows to Ramananda Raya. I wish to hear from you about Lord Krishna. Indeed, my mind is inclined to desire this. Therefore, I wish to see you again. Ramananda Raya replied, my Lord, although you have come to correct me, a fallen soul, my mind is not yet purified simply by seeing you. Please stay for 5 or 7 days and kindly cleanse my polluted mind. After that much time, my mind will certainly be pure. Although neither could tolerate the other's separation, Ramananda Raya nonetheless offered his obeisances to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and then departed. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then went to the house of the Brahmin who had invited him and took his lunch there. When the evening of the day arrived, both Ramananda Raya and the Lord were eager to meet each other again. After finishing his evening bath, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat down and waited for Ramananda Raya to come. Then Ramananda Raya, accompanied by one servant, came to see him. Ramananda Raya approached Lord Sri Chaitanya and offered his respectful obeisances, and the Lord embraced him. Then they began to discuss Krishna in a secluded place. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Ramananda Raya to recite a verse from the revealed scriptures concerning the ultimate goal of life. Ramananda replied that if one executes the prescribed duties of his social position, he awakens his original Krishna consciousness. The Lord replied, this is external. You had better tell me of some other means. Ramananda replied, to offer the results of one's activities to Krishna is the essence of all perfection. This is also external, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. Please proceed and speak further on this matter. Ramananda Raya replied, to give up one's occupational duties in the Varnashram system is the essence of perfection. After hearing Ramananda Raya speak in this way, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again rejected his statement and said, go ahead and say something more. Ramananda Raya then replied, devotional service mixed with empiric knowledge is the essence of perfection. After hearing this, the Lord, as usual, rejected it, considering it to be external devotional service. He again asked Ramananda Raya to speak further, and Ramananda Raya replied, Pure devotional service without any touch of speculative knowledge is the essence of perfection. Quoting from Srimad Bhagavatam, Ramananda Raya said, "My dear Lord, those devotees who have thrown away the impersonal conception of the absolute truth and have therefore abandoned discussing empiric philosophical truths should hear from self-realized devotees about your holy name, form, pastimes, and qualities. They should completely follow the principles of devotional service and remain free from illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, and animal slaughter. Surrendering themselves fully with body, words, and mind, they can live in any ashram or social status. Indeed, you are conquered by such persons, although you are always unconquerable." At this point, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, "This is all right, but still you can speak more on the subject." So this is the first part. Lord Chaitanya asked Ramananda, what is the goal of life? So Ramananda began with the lowest possible acceptable answer, which is that one should worship the Lord following his prescribed duties as a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Vanaprastha, Grihastha, Sannyas. But Lord Chaitanya said, no, this is material. This is external. So then Ramananda went a step higher. But still, Lord Chaitanya, no, this is still, you're on the material platform. Then he went higher. Lord Chaitanya said, no, you're still external. So this verse, this final verse, where does this verse come from? 10th canto. After Lord Brahma stole the boys and calves, and then Krishna did his magic, and then Brahma realized that he had tried to trick Krishna, but the trick was played on him. Lord Brahma came, he cried, and he offered prayers. So one of the first prayers. Yes. Yes, in other words, let's go exactly to where that comes. So, yes, to give up one's occupational duties in the varnashram system is the essence of perfection. In other words, you renounce everything in the material world, you take sannyas to dedicate yourself. But Lord Chaitanya even said that is external. What's your second question? No, these are still in the material realm. That's why Lord Chaitanya is rejecting it, because Ramananda Raya is staying on the material platform. He's not talking about giving up your devotional duties. He's talking about, it's like, say your father one day decides to give up his business. Okay? That is what is being talked about. That he should leave the family and go to India and renounce. That's what he's talking about. Do you understand? It's still the material platform. Does that answer your question? All right, so, as I was saying, so one of the prayers Brahma offered Krishna at that time is this verse. Let's go over this verse, because this is the point where Lord Chaitanya says, yes, now we're on the spiritual platform. All the previous answers, you were still on the material platform. This verse Now because he says, pure devotional service without any touch of speculative knowledge. So this is the beginning of pure Krishna consciousness. So the verse, devotees who have thrown away the impersonal conception and who have therefore abandoned discussing empiric philosophical truths. What should they do? Hear from self-realized devotees, which you have done since birth. Right? You have heard from me, you have heard from other devotees, right? So you started your life on this platform. So they should hear from self-realized devotees about Krishna's holy name, form, pastimes, and qualities. Have we not done that? We've done that. They should completely follow the principles and refrain from illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, the 4 regulative principles. You can't be a devotee in ISKCON, initiated, unless you agree to follow the 4 regulative principles. Then, surrendering themselves fully with body, words, and mind, they can live in any ashram. So it doesn't matter. Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Brahmachari, or you can be in any situation, doesn't matter. For instance, in the Mayavad Sampradaya, they don't accept you until you take sannyas. First they tell you you take sannyas, you leave your family, you leave everything, then we can talk about initiation. But in Lord Chaitanya's movement, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas, Brahmachari, they can engage in pure devotional service. They can live in any ashram or social status. Indeed, you are conquered by such persons, although you are always unconquerable. Ajita, right? Krishna's name? Ajita, unconquerable. But Krishna becomes conquered when somebody accepts the path of pure devotional service. Therefore, later on, there is a discussion between Lord Chaitanya and Sanatan Goswami. And Lord Chaitanya says, at the time of initiation, Krishna accepts you as good as himself. Think about that. What is the context? What are all the ramifications at the time of initiation? So that is coming for you, I predict. You're entering now your period. I predict that will happen for you. And that's what is being discussed here. You're going to dedicate your life fully to hearing, chanting, remembering. You're going to follow how many regulative principles? 4. And then Krishna will accept you as good as himself. Everybody chant the Maha Mantra.